something. I forgot to flip it. I was like, that's not looking right. So this is a little bit better. So who knows, actually. So anyways, I didn't need that. I did all that work for naught. Oh, darn it. So that would have been a really good example of me getting a wrong answer, but getting a lot of partial credit because I had all of this right. I just forgot to actually flip it across the y-axis. So I'm just going to pick a couple of points so that I've got them exactly where they're supposed to be and make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm going to plug in things that make this work really good. So like if I plug in, say, -4. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Okay, if I plug in -4, I get negative square root of 1, so -1 plus 2, that's 1. So g of -4 is 1. That actually goes down a little bit more. Okay, let's pick another point over here. I'm trying to plug in numbers that will come out nice and neat. So like 1 did. If I plugged in -4 did. If I plugged in -1. Oh, keep forgetting I'm on there. So g of -1 means I have square root of 4, so it's -2 plus 2, so that's 0. G of -1 is 0. It actually goes through that point right there. 2, 3, 4. Let's do 4. If I plug in g of 4, I get square root of 9, which is 3. -3 plus 2 is -1. 4 and -1. Okay, so you wouldn't have to get it even that exact. But even the way I drew it earlier, I'm pretty sure it gave us about the same amount. But you can see that it's crossing it here, 1, here 2, here 3, and there 4. So it crosses it in 4 places. How many values can be said? H of x equals, okay, 4 values. Really good question. Okay, so you got a point for correctly graphing that point, or that graph, and then showing that h of x equals g of x where the two graphs intersect each other, and therefore there are 4 places where they intersect each other, which is what we got. So again, there's a lot of room for some partial credit there. Then D, find an equation for g inverse of x if it exists. If g inverse does not exist, give a reason why. So g of x, oh, we have a picture of it. Lovely. So since we have a picture of it, I can use the horizontal line test. It does pass the horizontal line test. So I can, what? Go ahead.
Wouldn't the picture be of h of x?
The picture, but the one I had to draw in for part C.
Okay.
Good question. Yes, you're absolutely right. The picture that's already there was h of x, but you can use anything that you've used in the other answers for this. Good question. So g of x is that purple graph. And so I can say, using the graph of g of x I know g of x is, I think I answer this different every time, which is fine. As long as you have that, so I'm using the graph, it's 1-to-1, and it passed the horizontal line test. 1-to-1 because g of x passes the horizontal line test. Yes, ma'am.
So, like, if we accidentally drew the graph to where it wouldn't pass the horizontal line test, would we get partial credit if
Yes.
you, like, explained it?
Absolutely. You would get full credit for the, if it does not exist, give a reason why. You would give that full credit. The only thing that you would not get credit for would be obviously finding the equation.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you would, because if you get a wrong answer based on another wrong answer, you won't be penalized twice, ever. Good question. All right, so now we're supposed to find g inverse of x. So now I use that equation. So g of x, so I'm going to replace g of x with y, equals negative square root of x plus 5 plus 2. Okay, flip-flop the x and the y. Subtract 2. I can divide first or square first. It does not matter. I figure most of you would probably divide first. So make that negative x plus 2. And then square both sides. And you would get negative x plus 2 squared equals y plus 5. Subtract 5. So your answer would be g inverse of x equals negative x plus 2 squared minus 5. But the original graph, has a domain problem because it's a square root. Which also, if I look at the graph, I have a range problem as well. It starts at, it's like 3. Starts at 3 and goes below. If I graphed that right. I don't think I did, though. I think that's supposed to be at 2, isn't it? Yeah. I didn't notice that until just now. Should have been right there. At 2. So it's at 2 and it goes below that. So that would be where x is less than or equal to 2. Or you could set what's inside here equal to 0. Or less than or equal to 0. And it would give you the same thing. Let me look at this for you and make sure. Yeah. The look at how many different answer choices there are depends on how you simplify it. But they're all less than or equal to 2. And that's because it starts here at 2. And if it's the range for g of x, then that's the domain for the inverse of g of x. We had to show that x and y. Did you correctly solve? Okay. So, question. Oh, it's getting ready to ring. I've already posted online the focus topics for Unit 1, Test 1. They're under study aids. All it is a list of all the stuff that's been covered. It's pretty much what we just did in the last 2 free response questions. So please, you can look over that, but mostly it's most important that you look over all your homeworks and stuff and make sure you understand those things. All right. Test tomorrow, but this test will not go in this 9 weeks because there's no way I can get retake done at the same time.
Are you gonna do like the AP card thing on this test too?
Oh, yeah. I might adjust it a little, but yes. These are still very hard, very,